G'day guys, welcome back to Supercoach with DR and welcome to the Round 9 review. Hope you all had a ripper of a week yourself. Look, for me, watched a few games, did head out on a Saturday night with my best mate Brent. He's a mad Crow supporter. I'm obviously a Lions man, so came home with the chocolates, which was nice. And big shout out to Tyler, Tom, Jono, Declan as well. Had a massive night with all the boys there down at the Plough. And shout out to all the staff there as well, down there at the stables. Absolutely wonderful people and did look after us for the night as well. So thank you very, very much. I must apologise as well for the Friday night live butchering. I tried to go live 3 times, but for some reason just couldn't work out the audio issues. Something wasn't working. I was talking to myself, my lips were moving, but you weren't obviously hearing anything. So I thought one last ditch attempt, let's give it a crack on the phone. And fortunately that worked. So I think I was able to go live for about 45 minutes. May give another go this week. We'll see how we go, but I think I have worked out what the issue was. So fingers crossed we go a little bit better next week. But look, Supercoach wise, for me, round score 2300, right on the dot. Look, that was a little bit above par, which was nice. Season rank now 3,205, did move up over 1,000 spots, so heading in the right direction for sure. But look, really hurts being a Jack Steele owner. He's gone now, is an absolute must trade out option. Brought in Rioli this week, really disappointing score. Brought in Carroll, again another disappointing score. Fortunately though, I did manage to have these guys on the pine, didn't field them, and the premium that I did bring in had his second highest score of the season, which was really nice, and that seems to be a good decision at this stage anyway. But look, I'll show you how the side's actually looking and then talk about some of my trade plans. I'm really not sure what on earth I'm going to do at the moment. We've got a few blokes on the chopping block, I think, but let's see how we're looking. So in the defence, we've got Mr. James Sicily. I tell you what a magnificent pick this year. If you started with him, fantastic. If you bought him in when he was 500k, great. If you bought him in last week, it's still looking like a great move because he has been on fire. I've owned him for about a month and has not put a foot wrong. So massive first quarter. That, gets his points in the bank. And then he just continued on from there. So absolutely love being a Sicily owner. Look, he's coming, I suppose, becoming one of those blokes that is nice to have in your side to becoming almost a must-have in your side, because if you don't have him, he's making points on basically any other defender that we've had apart from a Stewart when he goes really big. So love having him in the side, absolutely fantastic. Shorty, 88, pretty disappointing. We thought in this new midfield role, it was just a given that he was going to go 110 plus, but that's pretty low for him. I know he had about 5 disposals at quarter time for 7 points, so he'll bounce back. We know that he does. The last time he had a really low score, went bang the next week, so expect him to come back, Shorty. Crispy just managed to hit the ton as well. I think that's 5 or 6 on the trot now, so that's okay from Crispy. But look, I think he had about 24, 25 touches and a couple of goals. I thought he deserved more than that 100, but it is what it is. We'll take that, 3 figures. George Hewitt just stepped back, didn't he? Did not put a foot wrong again this week. Contested possessions, tackles, just did everything that we thought he'd do. But the issue was he going to come back a little bit rusty? Would it take him a week or two just to get back to that form that we saw him before he went out of the side with that injury? But no, didn't take him any time at all. Just fit back in absolutely beautifully. 121 points. Absolutely beautiful, George. Lockie Whitfield. Lockie. The roll's not there. Nothing's there. Nothing's there with Whitfield. 423,000. 43 points. He had a break even in the mid-60s, I think it was. We thought, geez, hopefully another 90s type score. He's done that 2 weeks in a row. He'll actually start to make some money here. No, a 43, continuing to dwindle in coin. This is a very, very bad situation to be in as a Whitfield owner, and I want to get rid of him ASAP, but I think I've got some other problems. But when I say that, I think to myself, well, really, do I need to be treating Whitfield almost like a rookie, like a maxed out rookie at 423k and just move him on? I'm not too sure. Want to hold maybe one more week just to see what the new coach does with him. And if it's another 50, 60 odd, then he's absolutely gone. I don't think you got any choice but to get rid of him. Dacos decided to hold, given the fact O'Driscoll is out this week. And 69, that's okay. Nothing too bad there. Did slow up a little bit in the last term, but 381,000. Hopefully I can just hold him until he's by and provide cover, I think, for the first 2. That'd be nice. De Koning, 69. Paddy McCartan, 75. Again, absolutely fantastic. I didn't really watch any of these games. Obviously, the Essendon Sydney game was on during the Lions Crows game, so I didn't get to catch any of that. But 75, he's just a pretty reliable rookie, isn't he? Even on field, I think. Will he beat Dacos by 6 points there? So I think that's okay to be fielding McCartan. I'm not looking to trade him or DeConing if possible. And the issue is that we do want a couple of defensive rookies, don't we? We've got them this week in Karmas and Rory Thompson as well. But who goes out? That's maybe when you do look at trading out of Whitfield. Maybe a Dacos. You could even swing Dacos back into the midfield and trade out one of your midfield rookies or even a forward rookie with some DPP. We've certainly got some options, but I'm pretty keen to hold on to these two blokes if possible. I don't like the sound of trading them out now because they're giving us some pretty decent scores and they've still got money to make. Awesome job security as well. Into the midfield, well, a little bit of a mixed bag, I think, here this week. We've got Lachie Neale as the captain now. This was a little bit nerve-wracking. I'll just make a little bit bigger there. This was a little bit nerve-wracking because at the end of the day, it was either out of Neale or Oliver for my captaincy. I couldn't even take McRae's score of 117 in the end because the only non-playing player I had was Con McDonald, and all of a sudden he was a sub. So, if McRae had got a 160, I still couldn't have taken that score. So, in the end, Neale with a 115 worked out okay. Was looking a little bit better than this at one stage, but given the carnage that we had, Oliver under 100, Cripps 83, only 2 points less than someone like McRae. Miller did well, but then someone like a Steele as well. I suppose I'll take it. It was not looking great on the Saturday night when I saw this 115, but at the end, it's not too bad. Oliver, didn't play terribly. I thought he played a little bit better than 99, but it is what it is. Lots of people had him as captain, so it's funny as an owner because you think to yourself, well, I want him to go well, but not too well, given the fact I don't have the captaincy, and I know a lot of teams that did have the captaincy on Oliver. But an awkward situation like that. But I'd still want him to go at least what a Neale did, maybe a 115. So disappointing from an owner's perspective, but at least I didn't have the big say on him this week. Now, Tuke Miller, this man has absolutely bounced back. Had some critics, maybe 3 weeks ago. It was a failed selection, an obvious failed selection from the start. I stuck up for my man Tuke, and he's backed me up. He said, DR, I'm going to back you up, mate. Here you go. Bang, bang, bang. A 130 on the weekend. All of a sudden, that average for the season is close to 120, 119.6. So if you look at Oliver, that's 120.7. Cripps, 120.3. I know he had that injury-affected game in there, so that's a little bit unfair. But only 5 odd points behind Jack McRae now. Again, he's had a bit of an indifferent season, but when I say indifferent, those lower scores that he's had aren't in the 70s or 60s like we've seen from some other premiums. So, look, I'll definitely take that from Tuke Miller. The man is absolutely back. McRae, 117. Yeah, that's okay. It is what it is. Cripper, 83. Didn't actually get to watch much of this game, so don't really know what happened, to be quite honest. But really, his first failure of the season, I can forgive him for that. That's okay. This man, Jack Steele, man, it's been so disappointing. So I traded him in, I think it was 3 weeks ago. So I got a 122 on debut. That was okay, but still a little bit disappointing because from round 1, his scoring pattern was the fact that he went up, 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 up. And it wasn't great, but all good. 122. Then last week, it was a train wreck. And then this week, a 74. He's out for 6 to 8. A must trade out now. Ouch. I thought I'd pay up big for him, but it just has not worked out. I didn't think he'd be available at a bargain price. You can't predict injury. Just really unlucky. So here's a must trade out. I'll talk about what I'm doing in a minute. I don't even really know what I'm doing, but we'll see what happens. Now, this is the man that I brought in this week. It was, at the end of the day, it was out of Zorko, Dawson in the back line, or Petrarca, Brayshaw in the midfield. And I thought to myself, look, I looked at the break-evens. I picked Petrarca for about a 125 plus. His break-even was 89. I thought, okay, he's going to go up roughly about this much. Did the same for Zorko. Thought he's going to go about 105. Again, did the same with Dawson. Did the same with Brayshaw. And at the end of the day, I thought, it makes the most sense to go Petrarca, I think. Lock him in the midfield. His round 14 buy is actually okay for me because I've got some plans around the buys, or they may go completely out the window. We'll see how we go. But he just worked out the best for me. I thought he's coming up against West Coast. Then he's got North Melbourne. So here's the obvious pick. I've got to go him. And he obviously scored the highest out of all 4. So Raps, look, it could have been, a 150 at least. 2 goals for, I think it was in the end, and a couple of those were pretty much regulation shots for track. So left an absolute monster at the door here, but 136 on debut. It's his second highest score of the season, as I mentioned in the intro. Thumbs up. Good on your truck. Now, Nick Martin, disappointing. I can forgive this bloke. You know, he had such a good run, given us really consistent scores. All of a sudden, that break even is very, very close, I think, to that season average. So I'm going to keep on to him for another week. I'm not going to trade him out straight away, but if he does give us another score like this next week, all of a sudden he's starting to leak cash and almost becomes a must trade out option, unfortunately. So my plan is to hold him for another week and see what happens. He's been such a reliable rookie for us, but all of a sudden that cash gen, I think, is going to come to a halt, and if anything, may go backwards slightly, but we'll see how he goes. Macomb, I say Macomb. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I've heard some other people say Macomb, but I'll just go Macomb and let me know if I'm wrong. 41 points, pretty disappointing, but when I say pretty disappointing, these two blokes on the bench, Carroll, Rioli, it was a choice out of the three, wasn't it? Hamilton, Carroll, Rioli. Of course, I've made the wrong choice in going these two, but look, what do you do? Look, Carroll, I thought he's got that ring roll now. Hopefully he gets around that 15 to 17 possessions. 28, just terrible. You know, that cash gen all of a sudden is going to be halted up with a score like that. Rioli with a 7. Oh man, this was frustrating. Put a few tweets out about, you know, his time on ground. At halftime, it was at 47%. So I did tweet out that said, look, it's so hard for a bloke to score, you know, when he gets 47% time on ground. A couple of blokes had a slight dig, I think. They said, how do you expect him to score big, you know, when he's got this role as a small forward? Another bloke said, how on earth do you expect him to have more than 47% time on ground? And I said, well, one game he's had 80, and I think the other one was in the 70s. So, you know, I don't know where you sort of got the numbers from that he's going to go under 50%. And, you know, I never said I wanted him to score big. I just made the point that it's hard for him to score at all. But it was just a nightmare of a game from him. A couple of times caught holding the ball. I think there was a time in the last where I thought, come on, bit of a shot on goal. Nah, missed an absolute sitter near the square. It just didn't work for him. And unfortunately, similar to a Roses with his like 18 odd from last week, that cash gen is really going to be halted. I just thought to myself, he can go a couple of 55s. He's made a good 100k. Fantastic. All good. Keep his spot. Good job security. All of a sudden, that stuff is up in the air. So Carroll and Rioli, really don't know what's going to happen with these blokes moving forward. Could have been a mistake, but it is what it is. You know, we live and die by our decisions in Supercoach. I know a lot of people did bring in particularly Rioli this week, and at least I didn't have him on field. That could have been even more of a disaster. So not all bad. Now, the Rucks, I'll tell you what a week it was again not to have gone. Jared Witts and Braden Pruce, a fantastic combo. Witts 113, coming up against Big Darcy. I was thinking, well, if he can get himself 100, I'll be okay with that. He was actually projected, I think, to go about 140, but definitely won the battle on the day. I think Darcy only got around 50 to 60 in the end, which, yeah, sorry, Eno, really disappointing for you, mate. I genuinely do barrack for Big Shrek, mate, because of you. You know I love you, Eno, and yeah, want you to go well this season, mate. So really disappointing from Darcy, but Witty certainly did win the battle. So if you're a Darcy owner, a Gorn owner, you would have obviously had them on field. If you had Hayes on field, again, that was a bit of a disaster. Witts and Pruce were pretty much the best combination I think you could have had this week. So wrap with these two blokes. Prucey just continues to score well. And given the fact that Max Gorn's gone down, I'll talk about this maybe in my trade plans, but he'll be right for the picking, I think, in a couple of weeks. So I think that it may cost me 80 to 100k to upgrade from Pruce to Gorn during Pruce's first buy, and that means hopefully I'll have 2 rucks available for each of the buys. That's a plan anyway. I think that's what I'll do. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but for the time being, Witts and Pruce, absolutely fantastic as a combo. And Hayes 55, well, again, pretty unfortunate if you had him on field, but 276,000, he's already made 150k, so my plan is to just hold him probably through the buys. And yeah, I'm not sure what I'll do with Hayes, but there may be someone available to trade him down to. If not, I may just leave him there as security for the season. We'll see how we go. See if I need the cash from him. And then the forward line. So Josh Dunkley, 118. Yep, fantastic. I'll live with that. All good. Parker, 105. Didn't get to see the game, but triple figures. That's all good from me. Heaney, 92. I think that his CBAs have been right down. that's unfortunate because we thought Papley's back, Buddy's back on the side. He'll be able to spend a lot more time in the midfield. I just don't think that it's happening. So, season average of 107 after those two massive scores of 140 plus in the first 2 weeks. He hasn't been fantastic. Give me a couple of nice scores, but again, some pretty mediocre ones as well. So, this is really disappointing. I hope he gets back on his bike, finds a little bit of that spark, and just really starts to hit the scoreboard again. Because it was kicking really well, kicking accurately, regularly hitting the scoreboard, particularly in the first month and a bit. But lately, just been a little bit off, unfortunately. Brody, he's a keeper. He's got to be a keeper. 121. The role is absolutely his. I don't think he can play anywhere else. He's magnificent at what he does, elite with his hands. And it was in the first 5 minutes, I think it was. He had 5 touches, 3 tackles, only going at about 60%, but halfway contested, I think. Just fantastic. So, want to prove a point, I think, particularly against his old club. And he did that. Magnificent, Will Brodie. And finally, and this is very, very well deserved, I think this is the first time this season where his average is over 100. So 101.1. Well done, Will. I'm planning on just holding you until the end of the year, mate. Cogs, now, didn't get to watch this game, but what on earth happened here? Tell me, people. A 37? Man, I thought this guy would go big for Leon Cameron in his last game. Similar to Whitfield, I was expecting big things from these blokes, but what I get from him, under 80 from both of them, that's just terrible and not good enough. That's where I would have lost a lot of points this week. Congrats if you move Cogs on this week. I was planning on holding him for another one. His break even wasn't anything massive. I was definitely planning on trading him out this week, but yeah, it makes the decision even easier. I think 37, again, I'm not really sure what happened there. Regardless of what happened, he's got to go. Simple as that. And Butters, 104. Well, I thought that he'd bounce back this week against North. It's not a massive score, but compared to what he's been giving us, hopefully that was just a little kickstart that he needed, and he can continue on for the rest of the season in a really positive note. So I was always an advocate for the Butters hold. I really want to see how we went this week, particularly against North. Look, if you had given us a 60 to even 70 type score, I would have been ultra concerned. But look, when we see a boat go under a 40, for example, 104 from Butters, I think is okay. So all good from Zachary. Hopefully he just, as I said, continues that good form. Now McDonald, this is unfortunate getting a 30 because he did come on as a sub. If you're going to manage him, just manage him. Don't bring him on as a sub. It's halting his cash gen. Did he go? I think he may have even gone down. I'm not too sure. But look, if he can get a full game, maybe he's got a 60 type game in him. But yeah, again, I'm not too sure. And Moses, 58. He did some good things, some clever little tap-ons I noticed from Moses. Pretty unselfish type player. A few little contested handballs that set up some plays. So didn't mind Moses' game. Did have a shot on goal. Not great. Straight through the behind post. But again, gave himself an opportunity. I don't think this is the disaster that I thought that it may be. So I think we can hold Roses again. But having that low score in his system is hurting us a little bit with that cash gen. But it is what it is. Good to see an improvement from the week before anyway. So, my trades for this week. Again, I'm really not too sure. Look, one move that I'm definitely going to make. We'll start off with that. And this will give me a little bit of money in the bank. Now, firstly, with my forward line, I'm pretty keen on some of the doggies. So, I want Tim English. I think that Baz may get DPP. There's a good chance. And I think there's a good chance that the Bont may get some DPP. Unfortunately, though, and this is realistic, my forward line, I've got Dunkley, Parker, and Heaney there at the moment. Brodie's a keeper, and Butters is a keeper. So, they're the 3 blokes that I'm after. But at this stage, I just can't bring one of them in due to that round 13 bye. Having 4 not available, that's just really going to hurt. So, I can't do too much with the forward line at the moment. What I can do is keep Martin for another week because, look, I'm not relying on these blokes to come on field. They're just not trustworthy. So what I think that I'm going to do is actually trade out Cogs, bring Martin into my forward line, just for now. Or he may just stay in the forward line, who knows. So I'm going to get him in. And then I think, and look, he didn't score 100 like he did the week before, but did a bit of a tag job. I think we've got to get Clark in. So I think that that's a really obvious trade. Cogs out, Clark in, and that gives me a fair bit of cash in the bank. So 340, it's all good because Cogs wasn't really a keeper anyway. And I'd pretty much be, well, safer. I'd probably prefer having Clark on field rather than Cogs. Again, I would love to give him just one more week to see what the new coach does with him. But with that break even, he's not going to reach it unless a miracle occurs. So I think that I'm just going to get Cogs out. And Clark, having him on field, that's all good. So this on-field setup at the moment, although Martin, only gave us a 59, I still think he's okay. I haven't got a Roses or a McDonald type there. And I think that my midfield setup, now, obviously I've got Jack Steele there, but if we take Steele out for a sec, all these blokes are fine. And then Clark, I think I'd much rather have over any of these blokes here. Scored, 21 points on the next best rookie that I had available there. Not doing anything with the Rucks for now. That's fine. So then I look back to my defensive line. I've got Whitfield, Dacos. Yeah, I'm not keen on moving these two blokes on. So this is a pretty tough decision. I've got to get Steele out. Now, do I just get one of those absolute primo midfielders in? The tempting option is to probably do this, which I think a lot of people that own Steele will do this week. He's been ultra consistent, this bloke, and that is Rory Laird. So 634k, I'm actually paying up, which really hurts, 44k. Ouch, that hurts. But anyway, that's a pretty obvious move. And that way I've got, Neil, Oliver, Miller, McRae, Cripps, Laird, Track, and I need one more player there. And I think Clark is fine to fill in just for now. The back line, not looking great. So I could also upgrade there. So instead of getting Laird out, I could simply bring Dacos, for example, into my midfield. And then I could bring in a defender. So I was pretty keen on Zorko. He was a bloke I was going to have a really good look at. I might actually, go out a little bit here so you can see the players here. I might just go by averages. So Hewitt I've got, Sicily I've got. That's fantastic. Vlostone, it just wouldn't go there. Excuse me, losing the voice. Stewart, I've got the money for, but 616. I don't want to pay 600k plus for a defender. So as much as I'd love to have him, just no, I can't. I don't think pay up that much. Doherty at 554, he'd be the bloke that I would bring in, but unfortunately, he's got that terrible buy, that round 12 buy, which doesn't really suit me. So, unfortunately, I can't get him in. Without, again, he's pretty close to that 600 mark. Don't want to pay up that much. Jaden Short, 568, already got him. Now, Sinclair, I'd love to bring him in at 520, but he's got that buy. Will it hurt me? 5-day cost down back. So let's just say that I did get Sinclair in. I might see what happens with my buy structure if I was to get Sinclair in, because maybe I could just switch Dacos back and fill that position. Pendles, not sure. Bailey Dale is an interesting one, 550. You're sort of paying up for him at the moment. Don't know if there's a heap of value there, but he's got the round 13 buy, which I do like. Coming, we're paying up for him now at 565, aren't we? A little bit of a disappointing score on the weekend, but I do like him. Doesn't have the right buy for me though. Pendles was laid out. Crispy I've got. McGovern, no. This is the other bloke. Jordan Dawson. So they end up putting Berry on him in the second half because he was really, really damaging. Was looking good. 107 off a really nice score. His highest score of the year last week. I think that he's looking good. Break even should be pretty friendly also. 532k, so you're not paying too much. I think that's a nice price to pay for a defender. Yeah, he is definitely an option, so I may go with Dawson there. And the other bloke is obviously, we've got Houston, no. May, no. Sard, no. Hall. Rich, maybe 514, saving 20 odd k there on Dawson. But Zorko, so he's got 120 odd, 120 on. And then, what did he get last week? 103. So 3 tons in a row. Was playing a little bit of everywhere. I'd tell you, I did have a fair few cold ones watching this match. So, yeah, did get slightly distracted during some times. Fair bit of banter going on with the boys. So, I couldn't tell you exactly his role, where he played. So, yeah, I do remember seeing him play a little bit of time down back. I think a little bit of everywhere. So, an option. Definitely an option. And I think that's probably, yeah, I wouldn't go a Lloyd, wouldn't go Ridley. No, I don't think of the other blokes here. are realistic. So if I was going a defender, I think that it would most likely be Dawson. I'd love to get a Sinclair. I'll just see what... You're probably not interested in this. You can probably tune out now, guys, to be honest. But I suppose it's a buy for a buy type scenario. If I complete that trade there, I really do like Sinclair at that price. So remember, if you do have Supercoach Gold, you do have the buy functions. If you don't, unfortunately, you won't be able to do this. But just use your old pen and paper, maybe. So we'll show the buys round 12. So actually, so that's probably not too bad now. I've brought him in. Okay, so I'll be one down in defence. Midfield, well, hopefully he plays. Well, all these guys got great job security, obviously. McComb, hopefully. So one down there, one down. And then, well, depending on if these blokes play. Okay, that may actually work. I may actually be able to get a Sinclair there. So if not, Dacos would be here, filling in. And then, obviously, I'd have Dawson there. So I'd have an extra one down back. So let's see round 13 how we're looking. So that's really nice. Round 13, down back, we're all good there. And the midfield, we got 2 covering, beautiful. 2 in the ruck, yes, that'll most likely though be gone. That's my plan anyway, so that's all good. I've got 2 there. And then I knew I was going to suffer in the forward line there. So yeah, not too bad. I think we can do something with that. Trade someone, or target someone like a Sam Walsh. Now, depending if we've still got these guys, it's hard to count rookies, isn't it? I'll be one down in round 14 there. Well, if all 3 of these blokes play, who knows what's going to happen with their job security? I don't know. But best case scenario, we could be full there. So I'm only 1 down at the moment. That's all good, looking good at the moment. Bruce will be a gone, which will be out. But again, still 2 there. And then, beautiful. So round 14, I'm actually looking okay. So that structure may work. I'm not too sure. But Sinclair, I don't mind. Dawson, I like his upside. So I think realistically, the options I'll be looking at, and again, round 14, I may be able to get a Brayshaw in instead of Sinclair. It could be Rory Laird, which would be round 13 out. It could be a Dawson, and it could be a Zorko. I'm really not too sure, but that's pretty much how the mind is ticking at the moment. One thing that I have not mentioned is the fact that there are some pretty nice defensive rookies available this week. When we say pretty nice, the cupboard has just been so bare that I think that we may be forced to take one of them. And for me, that would mean that I would be using my last trade boost. So what would I do there in that situation? I've got a few options there. I've got McDonald who could come out, Roses who could come out. I'm not keen on getting Martin out because I'll be forced to field one of these types, which I'm just not prepared to do. You could say to me as well, mate, you've got 410,000 there. 410k. So the changes that I made were Sinclair and Clark in, Steele and Cogs out. So I didn't go that big premium midfielder, which is something that I could do. And really, should I just be getting another big score on field? So yeah, it's a really interesting one, isn't it? It's a really interesting one. Logic may say that I should actually just upgrade this selection, but I could dead set use a boost. I could even get someone like Dacos out, because he's not going to be a keeper. You get a Karmas in for him. I think I can even afford to... Let's just play around with this. So, let's just trade Dacos out. Let's just see what we could do. So, filter. Buku. 66 points. Jeez, he was looking good in the first quarter, wasn't he? Such an exciting player. So that gives me 664k in the bank. That's pretty ridiculous though, isn't it? Yeah, that puts me a week behind, which is tough. And I'd have to use my boost. So it's not like I can use a boost to all of a sudden just go bang, bang, bang. And all of a sudden pick up that pace. Well, look, at the end of the day, it's not terrible, is it? With 664, round that out to 220k. for 3 trades. So that would take me down to 13. I can use 220k. So 220k to Martin is around, well, 400. So around 620 that I could spend there. That's easy in English type. Well, as I said, I reckon I need to spend about 180k, maybe 150, the absolute max from Bruce to Gorn. So that's okay. Clark, yeah, probably he wouldn't be ready to be maxed out. McCartan, another couple of 100k on him. Gets me to a premium there. I tell you what, this could be a move where in the matter of maybe 2 weeks, I could trade a McCartan type, a Bruce type, and a Martin type, and have someone along the lines of, let's just throw a few names out there, you know, a Bailey Smith, a Max Gawn, and I don't know, whoever. Well, that would be Sinclair, wouldn't it? Sorry. So maybe someone like a Sam Walsh. Yeah, well, that's the way that I'm thinking anyway, guys. Sorry, it's probably dragged on, but the feedback I got was that you like sort of, yeah, hearing me think out loud with these scenarios. But look, it is obviously personal to my side. Let me know if you've got any questions or comments, and I will do a Q&A video this week. I'm also going to do a special members video just to thank all the members that have joined up. I'm going to give my tiers, my rankings from here until the end of the season for every line. I'm going to give you my top 12 defenders. Look, I may even go more than that, give you the top 4 tiers on each line. So from defenders all the way up to the forward line. That will be the members video for this month. So just as a way of saying thank you to the members, and all part of the package as well when you do sign up for $3.99 a month, and all that money does, remember, go to Beyond Blue. So thanks very much for supporting such a great cause, guys. But yeah, if you do have any questions, as I said, or comments, love comments as well, leave them down below and I will get to them in my Q&A this week. Remember, the stock market will be a huge one this week, pretty diverse with our trades, because people are starting to go a little bit different. We do have some premium injuries. We know we're forced to trade out with some. We've got some interesting downgrade options this week as well. We're going to start to see teams look a little bit different. And remember that the dreaded buys are coming up as well. If you can plan well, take advantage of some really smart trade-ins or trade-outs during those 3 weeks. It can really shoot you up the rankings. So definitely keep that in mind. And we'll talk about this during the stock market video this week. Yeah, definitely keep them in mind, because it could be the difference between really making or breaking your season, I think. So apart from that, guys, hope all is well. Much peace, much love, and I'll see you soon in the stocky. Cheers, guys. Bye.